This could be really bad as the New York Rangers drop Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Final to the Florida Panthers in overtime once again. And yes, they're getting some goal scoring, but the top guys have not been there throughout this entire series, and that could spell trouble for the New York Rangers. Welcome back to Rangers Digest. My name is Darius Domingues. And guys, we've just kicked off the channel here. We noticed that a few of you have started subscribing and watching the channel and enjoying the content. So hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers as we go along here through the Eastern Conference Final. And we won't waste any time. We'll get right into it. Disappointing result in Game 4. And honestly, it's been a disappointing result throughout the entire first half of this series here, but we'll break down the stats a little bit. And if we get into the game stats, and we'll get into the storylines of everything, because heading into the game, there were some major storylines, including healthy scratches and Blake Wheeler and all that. So we'll get to that in a second. But to break down the actual game stats, a lot of zeros across the board, especially in areas where you would like to see some significant numbers and significant output. And Zibanejad with just a pretty horrendous game. I mean, it's the type of game that you think, is he injured? Because he just did not have a good one, and terrible giveaway at the blue line in overtime there at the end. I mean, you have to wonder, is he injured or something at this point? Because he did not end the Carolina series on a strong note whatsoever. He hasn't carried any momentum whatsoever into this series. And it's just continued and snowballed. And the power play is suffering because of it. And I'm being critical of him. I have his jersey right here. I love Mika Zibanejad. I think he's a great player. But in this series, he has not been a great player for the New York Rangers. But to get back to it, Adam Fox had a pretty good game, and he looked like, Adam Fox of old in a way, because clearly he's been injured and his knee has not been the same since the first round. And obviously, like I said, just a lot of zeros. It was nice that Panarin put in a 2-assist effort there tonight. But again, just not enough out of the top guys, including him, throughout the entire series. And yes, he showed up a little bit tonight, but it's just not enough. But let's get into some other storylines from tonight. Per the team, this was before the game. Filip Chytil was a healthy scratch tonight. And the reasoning really is because they're still trying to work with him to get him up to speed after only playing 4 games in the last 6+ months, because obviously he had that significant injury. And he only just recently came back. And I thought he's looked pretty good, actually, considering he hasn't played that much. I thought he put in some decent shifts in the first couple of games, but obviously they want to manage him, and if they don't think he's giving everything that they need and maybe saving him and giving him a bit of a break to catch his breath and coming back into the lineup will serve him and the team well, then I'm all for it. And clearly he hasn't been that much of a difference maker, but it would be nice to see him in the lineup doing his thing. But again, if this is for the better of the team and him, great, all for it. Anyway, another lineup change coming into this game. Blake Wheeler, who hasn't played since, I believe, February 15th, took line rushes in the warm-up. He obviously played and obviously took that last-minute penalty in overtime where the Florida Panthers scored. But honestly, in my eyes, a good penalty. I mean, he might have scored, Barkov might have scored on that breakaway. Arguably, could have been a penalty shot too. So at the end of the day, Panthers scored. Not a great result. I thought he had a decent game. It looked like he had a bit of his legs back. He looked energized. He was trying to assert himself in the game. So encouraging from Blake Wheeler. But again, sucks that it ended that way off of his stick, essentially, as well as, he was sitting in the penalty box. But, the game really did start well for the New York Rangers. There was a beautiful passing play on the power play, which needed to get going because up until this point, up until the 1-0 goal for the Rangers tonight, they hadn't scored on the power play since Game 6 against the Carolina Hurricanes, where Chris Kreider scored the last goal. And the Rangers took the 1-0 lead in this one. And honestly, what a shot from Tkachuk. Great setup from Panarin and Fox. Like I said, both of those guys did have pretty decent games. Not great series so far, but a great game tonight, which is good, encouraging. You want to see them get going, but a great shot from Tkachuk. I mean, it literally doesn't get better than that shot. It was fantastic. And the vibes were pretty high, man, as you can tell from this tweet. And there's so many Rangers fans in Florida. Rangers fans travel exceptionally well. There's so many of them. everywhere. You saw them going crazy in Central Park after Game 3. Love it. I love it so much. The passion is just flowing right now with the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Finals. So this was fun to see. Trocheck, obviously, in the power play, puts them up 1-0. The vibes were high because the Rangers had a chance to go up 3-1 tonight. We know, obviously, that didn't happen, unfortunately. But we move our way to the second goal, where they tie the game. I thought the Panthers were controlling the play a lot. Shesterkin, give some love to Shesterkin for a second. All right. Igor Shesterkin standing on his head. He was the only reason this game was close, I think. And I can't believe I, haven't mentioned him to this point in this game. If you take a look at his stat line from tonight, 40 shots against, 37 saves. And I mean, some of the goals he let in, not the greatest, especially the first one. But I mean, a couple of them, what are you going to do? And he had 40 shots against, and he gave it a very good effort. He made some difficult saves. So again, Igor Shesterkin had a great game. Definitely not going to blame him for this one. But back to this, Adam Fox looking like the Adam Fox of old, like his knee wasn't bothering him here. He looked a little bit better tonight, actually. A little bit more jump in his step, or hop in his step, whichever you want to say. But he did look a little bit better and obviously set up this amazing goal. I mean, great spin, deked out two guys essentially, put it in front, and Lafreniere tips the puck out of midair, puts it in the net, and it tied the game for the Rangers. And I thought the momentum shifted back to the New York Rangers way after that goal. I thought that goal really, helped get the, juice back into their legs, and they were really starting to make plays and coming on in the last minute as well. And I thought there could have been a couple penalties in the last couple of minutes as well, but that is a story for another time and another video perhaps. But I thought they made some good plays there in the final minute. I did enjoy that. And obviously the theatrics of playoffs. I love it. Like, I love everything about what Rempe's bringing. We'll get to the Kreider thing in a minute, but I love it. No, he's saying to Oposo, like, none of this here. The Matt Rempe show, man, the Empire State Building, he can't come back out of the lineup. He can't at this point. He is, made himself very useful. And you saw after last game, the Panthers were going after him after the Rangers scored in overtime. The guy only played 4 minutes, so if he's that in your heads, it means that you're not necessarily focused. So I love this from Matt Rempe. This was hilarious. And then, further down the line in the third period, to start the period, Chris Kreider somehow gets a hold of Matthew Tkachuk's mouthguard and tosses it into the crowd. That is hilarious. That is so funny. I love that stuff. When it comes to playoffs, game recognized game, and the Panthers do this type of stuff all the time. And if you watch the games, I mean, they get a lot of calls that go their way. It's just the fact of the matter. It is, and they know how to play in the playoffs. And the Rangers were trying to match them there. Obviously, they didn't get the result they wanted, but I think sometimes you have to, not to fight fire with fire all the time, but you have to do some things like that at times. Like inserting Matt Rempe into the lineup, I thought made a difference in Game 2. Certain things like that, I think they make a difference come playoff time. And I also wanted to shout out this tweet as well, because I totally agree with this. Lafreniere needs to be on power play 1. His zone entries tonight were crazy. He had that one crazy zone entry where he deked out the defenseman. I can't remember. I think it might have been Ekman Larson, but deked him out, hit the crossbar. Wouldn't that be nice? Would have been a different game, maybe up 3-1, but unfortunately didn't go that way. And, I'm not sure who you take off the first power play unit, but it's not firing on all cylinders. Yes, they got one today. Not firing on all cylinders. They need to maybe do something about that. And Lafreniere deserves a shot. I think he's been the Rangers' best forward this series by quite a bit, actually. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do heading into Game 5. It is now the best of 3. I'm going to have another video for you guys tomorrow. It's going to be a spicy one. All right, it's going to be about the top guys on the Rangers and their production or lack thereof, and what the secret will be for the Rangers to win this series, because like I said, best of 3, and we're going to keep you updated for everything on the channel, and we'll see you for another video.